The day she signed the divorce papers was the same day her entire world collapsed and was rebuilt from the ashes of betrayal and silence. She walked into the courthouse believing she was a woman abandoned, a wife discarded, and a daughter raised by a struggling old man who had spent his life repairing broken machines in a dusty workshop. She walked out knowing that the man she called father secretly owned the empire that had just swallowed her husband's company whole. The truth did not arrive gently. It struck like lightning, burning away every lie she had learned to survive with. In that moment she realized that love, pride, and sacrifice can hide behind poverty just as easily as behind power. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and hidden sacrifices, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories like this one. Her name was Elena, and for most of her life she believed struggle was her destiny. She grew up in a small apartment above her father's workshop, where the smell of oil and metal followed her into every dream. Her father, whom she knew as a quiet and gentle man, wore the same worn jacket year after year, and counted every coin before buying groceries. He never complained, never raised his voice, and never spoke about the past. Elena thought he had failed in life. She thought his hands were proof of defeat, scarred from years of work that led nowhere. Yet he paid for her education in secret, selling pieces of something she did not know existed. He never attended her college ceremonies, not because he didn't care, but because he feared she would see who he truly was. When Elena married Marcus, she believed she was finally escaping poverty. Marcus was ambitious, sharp, and obsessed with status. He built a fast-growing technology company and surrounded himself with people who spoke the language of wealth. At first, he admired Elena's humility, but soon it embarrassed him. He disliked visiting her father's workshop and spoke about it as if it were a stain on his reputation. Elena tried to bridge the worlds, but love grew tired under the weight of pride. Marcus became distant, then cold, then cruel in silence. One day, without warning, he told her their marriage was over. He had met someone who fit better into his future. Elena did not fight, she did not beg. She only felt hollow, as if her entire worth had been measured and found too small. The divorce process moved quickly. Like a storm she could not escape. She signed papers that gave her almost nothing because she believed she deserved nothing. She packed her clothes and returned to the apartment above her father's workshop, feeling like she had traveled backward in time. Her father did not ask questions. He simply made tea and listened to the sound of her crying through the thin walls at night. For the first time, Elena felt ashamed of ever thinking he was weak. His silence was not emptiness, it was patience. Days later, news exploded across the city. Marcus's company had been bought overnight by an unknown private investor in a deal worth billions. Headlines spoke of a mysterious buyer who now controlled everything Marcus had built. Marcus appeared on television looking pale and shaken. The company he once ruled was no longer his. Elena watched the screen in disbelief, not knowing why this news made her chest feel heavy. She turned to her father, who was quietly fixing a broken radio, and noticed something strange. He was not surprised. That evening, a black car arrived outside the workshop. Men in suits stepped out, carrying documents and speaking respectfully to her father. Elena stood frozen in the doorway as her father changed his jacket, the same old one, and walked out to meet them. The workshop suddenly felt too small for the truth that was about to enter it. When he returned, he did not look like a mechanic. He looked like a man who had finally put down a mask. Her father revealed that he had once built a massive industrial empire decades ago. Betrayed by partners and tired of a world obsessed with control, he disappeared and started again under another name. He kept ownership of everything in silence, watching from afar as his wealth grew. He chose to live simply so Elena would grow with humility and strength. When he saw how Marcus treated her, when he saw her pain, he made a decision not out of revenge but out of protection. He bought Marcus's company to stop the man from ever hurting her again. He wanted Elena to be free from fear and dependence, even if she never knew why. Elena felt anger and gratitude collide inside her. She was angry that he hid such a truth, and grateful that his love had been so powerful and quiet. She realized that the man she had pitied was the man who had controlled the storm without letting it touch her. Her childhood poverty was not failure, it was a lesson in dignity. Meanwhile, Marcus learned the truth through his lawyers. The mysterious investor was his former father-in-law. The man he once dismissed as insignificant had taken everything from him without raising a voice. Marcus's pride collapsed under the weight of reality. He tried to contact Elena, but she did not answer. For the first time, she felt stronger than the past that had broken her. Elena did not step into luxury immediately. She stayed in the workshop apartment for weeks, thinking about who she had been and who she wanted to become. Wealth had arrived like a stranger, but her heart still belonged to simplicity. She chose not to destroy Marcus. She chose not to humiliate him. Instead, she focused on herself. She studied again. She traveled. She learned what her father had once built and how much of it could be used to help others. Her father, now old and tired, watched her with quiet pride. He had hidden the truth to protect her from arrogance, and now she was proving him right. Elena created foundations for education and shelters for women who had been abandoned like she was. She did not speak publicly about her past. She did not expose Marcus. She simply moved forward with grace. Time passed, and Elena no longer felt like a woman who had lost everything. She felt like a woman who had discovered everything. The divorce papers that once symbolized rejection now symbolized freedom. The billion-dollar truth that shattered her illusions also rebuilt her identity. She understood that real power was not money. It was the ability to forgive without becoming small. And now, if this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in silent sacrifices, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us what real love looks like. Before the ending, we have one special request for you. Please comment below what this story taught you about family, pride, or forgiveness. Your words may inspire someone who is struggling right now. Elena's life did not become a fairy tale. It became something better. It became honest. She learned that sometimes the people we think are weak are carrying worlds on their shoulders. She learned that loss can be the doorway to truth, and that the quietest love can change the loudest destiny. The day she signed her divorce papers, she thought she had lost everything. But in reality, she had just uncovered the greatest inheritance of all, the courage to live without fear and the strength to rise without hate.